For more fantasy football insights on player values, lineup suggestions, player rankings, dynasty and keeper league strategies and much more, be sure to check out the NFL tab at rotoexperts.com. This article appears courtesy of rotoexperts.com. With the fantasy football playoffs in swing, there is no need to discuss player values in the traditional sense. It is time for a playoff primer with a glimpse into the future for dynasty purposes. Best day ever by Mac Miller. Ben Roethlisberger is heating up at just the right time for fantasy owners. After throwing for 506 yards on Sunday night, Roethlisberger gets a susceptible Patriots secondary at home this weekend, and then the Texans in Week 16. With Juju Smith-Schuster back in action after a one-game suspension assuming the hamstring injury suffered in Thursday's practice is minor, Roethlisberger has a complement of weapons to dismantle opponents. Start your Steelers this weekend in what promises to be a shootout with the Patriots. Philip G. Pavley. USA Today Sports. Jesse James was a major beneficiary of Big Ben's big day, snagging 10 passes for 97 yards last week. While he is not an exciting weekly option and probably never will develop into one, there is going to be some added DFS and appeal this week. The Patriots have been stingy against the position all year and especially strong in the last month. I would hesitate to roll with him in an important matchup. I Look to You by Whitney Houston. Nick Foles is already etched in fantasy folklore, thanks to a 272 TDINT ratio as the Eagles starter in 2013. It hasn't gone quite as well since then, and he settled back into Philadelphia as Carson Wentz is backup. With Wentz out for the season, what can owners expect if they're forced to pluck Foles off the waiver wire? The Eagles' offense is rolling and Foles can step in as an instant QB2 option. The ground game may be relied upon more in the next few weeks, but Foles can sling it if he needs to. If you lost Wentz and someone like Blake Bortles isn't available on the wire, Foles could be your guy. With Zach Ertz cleared from concussion protocol, he is back as a not-out TE1, but don't forget about Trey Burton in dynasty formats. Burton has impressed while filling in for Ertz this season and could make another team very happy as a receiver first tee sometime in the future. He makes for a very intriguing stash. Rappin' Rodney by Rodney Dangerfield. Alex Collins continues to impress as one of the more underrated waiver wire gems this season. He now has 5 TDs in his last 4 games and totaled a season-high 166 yards last week. He has become a focal point on an otherwise underwhelming offensive attack. It is time to give Collins respect as a potential high-end RB2, especially with matchups against the Browns Sunday and Colts Week 16 on the horizon. His dynasty value is still very much in question, however, with Kenneth Dixon due back and the Ravens potentially seeking to upgrade the position through the draft. Still, for the price he paid, Collins has already returned profitable dividends. Dreams by the Game. Duke Johnson has at least 4 receptions in 6 of his last 7 games. While not as involved on the ground, he deserves RB2 consideration in PPR formats. If he can continue to find 10 or more touches per game, he's got a great shot at racking up at least 50 yards. Can he be more than what he is? I do not believe he's built to run between the tackles like a true workhorse, but Johnson can certainly do more than he is. If he can get closer to averaging 15 touches per game, he could be close to an RB1 in PPR leagues. Is unlikely we see that this year unless Isaiah Crowell gets hurt, but it is possible in 2018 depending on how the Browns address the backfield situation. He's a buy in dynasty formats this offseason. DNA by Kendrick Lamar. Mike Evans has been a fantasy bust this season given the average draft capital invested. Evans has racked up at least 1,000 yards in each of his first 3 seasons, but we expected a leap in production similar to 2016. Evans should be a TD machine, having in 2 separate seasons found the end zone 12 times. He should be dominating secondaries every Sunday. Yet he sits at 557,604 with 3 games left this year. I'm starting him this week despite the very recent struggles, but he's no lock. Evans is more of a high-end WR3 option that could go off at any moment and win you a title. In dynasty formats, I am buying the 24-year-old all day long. Rockstar by Post Malone and 21 Savage. Davante Adams has emerged as the clear-cut #1 receiver in Green Bay. Even before Aaron Rodgers' injury that rendered Jordy Nelson useless, Adams had been gaining traction as the most feared receiving option. He is showing that the career 180 in 2016 was not a fluke, as he has 9 TDs and is just 172 yards shy of his first 1,000-yard season. Adams is a free agent in 2018, but my guess would be that the Packers do everything in their power to keep him. If anyone needs a fresh start, it is Randall Cobb, especially with Geronimo Allison and others waiting in the wings.